live? All right, people. I'm here. Still going. Still at it. I'm working on microfiber 4.0, and now I'm back to tools here. And, tools are one of those things that I don't like using them, but boy, I love getting them. I like having them. I like organizing them. I like shopping for them. I like putting together kits and sets. I mean, that's what I really like. That's what I'm passionate about. And then it was great having awesome tools when you need to use them. But a good percentage of my life is spent, trying to get really nice stuff so that I don't have to, use a lot of tools if I can help it. But I get it. I understand. As you're on the come up, or maybe your passion is the restoration of things. I don't like to restore. I like to take things that are already really nice, like the GTR that I'm looking at. It's got like 10,000, 12,000 miles on it, and I can take it to the, chase that perfection, where it'd be really hard to do that if you had a 110,000 mile version. And so to me, tools, I'm always looking for the complete set, to be organized in the drawer. It makes me feel good. It makes me feel settled. And so I feel like because I'm thinking about tools very differently than the vast majority of people, I can provide a different take on it. And then I'm willing to take the heat of people, questioning my manhood, Nick. I'm willing to take the heat of that. I actually find it kind of fun, I get punched in the face a lot about, from real men, that I'm not a real man, that, you don't use tools, you don't know what you're doing and all that. But I would wager that if we had we had a knowledge off of tools that were available and then learning about, stuff, if you gave us both the catalog, I'm going to digest it in, most tool use experts, they're going to veg out in the first 5 minutes of trying to dig through a 300-page catalog. So we all have our place. And so tools to me is about the pursuit of having an excellent set of things, of tools that I can use when necessary. And then I'm going to avoid having to use tools as much as possible. But I find in my life a good, let's say 5% of my life, I need tools or something. And it's really, really cool to be able to open up a drawer and to have it all available. It's just, I don't know, to me, it just makes me feel settled. And then, again, I love the pursuit of chasing them. So what we're trying to do here, and we could have kind of gone to my house, but what we're attempting to do here, and this is a little bit different take than what I've originally intended, because to share with you a full line of tools, like at my house, if you go to my house, I have 60-inch drawers, and I have, let's see, how many drawers are there 60-inch? I think there's 6 drawers or something like that, 6 drawers tall. So I have 12 60-inch wide drawers that are filled with all the sort of bespoke tools from my searches of tools that I am attracted to, tools that I like. And so you take those 12 drawers times 60 inches, you're ending up with an insane amount of individual pieces. If you take the torque wrenches out, it's something like $45,000 worth of tools. That's just ridiculous. And so what I wanted to do was to build a system, a summationable system, a system where you could add up individual packages to end up at a full solution. And you can kind of build that over your lifetime. But it just doesn't work we learned this, it doesn't work so much from a website design perspective. It's a really hard path to take people down. And the thing I'm stressing about in building that is for 1% of the 1% of the 1%, of which the vast majority, 99% of that 1% of the 1% of 1% aren't even going to buy it from me because they weren't going to find me. And so it's 8 people in the entire country are going to get to that end point. So why am I chasing that? Instead, let's use that $60,000 set of 12 drawers that are 60 inches wide. Let's use all of that pursuit, all that chase, to narrow it down and then make simple, digestible, small packages of really cool tools that I think you might want to consider. Right? So that's the logic here. And so Nick and Tommy and the products team, Matt Rutledge, just sort of talked me into said, I love your idea of this summationable, I don't even know if that's a word, I think I just made it up, but the summation of all these individual package adds up to this universe, to the master collection, but ain't nobody gonna buy the freaking master collection, so you're kind of wasting your time, wasting energy. It's hard to photograph, it doesn't present well on the site, and then it will never in the history of ever be in stock or available. And so I struggle with this. I'm always fighting with the team to say, look, they're trying to bring me back to reality, and I live in a different alternate reality where I'm like, well, why can't it exist? Why can't we figure it out? And I'm not saying we can't, but it is much, much more reasonable and digestible to say, hey, here's a wrench set. Here's a set of wrenches. It's $500. It's crazy expensive for wrenches because you can go to Harbor Freight and get something that will function just as well, and in some cases may even test better. But I'm looking for, I'm not attracted to that. I'm not interested in that. If I was interested in that, I would just go and buy that. I just wouldn't sell it. I wouldn't offer it. And I know that's hard for a lot of people to comprehend or to believe. But if I just love Snap-on, I might buy a Snap-on truck, and have somebody driving around with it just so I could get Snap-on tools. I just wouldn't sell Snap-on. I just buy it, and I would show you how to organize your Snap-on stuff. I wanted to love it. I really did. I went and spent my hard-earned money. I bought $50,000 worth of it, and then figured out a way to get out from underneath it when we did the Snap-on, toolbox giveaway. But these are the tools that, for whatever reason, I'm attracted to, that I like. I haven't discovered every tool in the world, so there's probably some things out there that I don't know about. But to date, this is what I like. And so, if we take an example here of, say, Stahlvilla, these are made in Germany. So this is a German version. They have several different versions of a typical, wrench, typical box end, open-ended, wrench. That they have several different versions, but I bought all of them, and this number 14, they call it Open Box 14 set. Is, I think, the most efficient way to buy it, the most complete set. If I had to choose just one set of wrenches, I actually wouldn't buy ratcheting. Ratcheting to me is a luxury. I would just buy a traditional combination wrench like this. And so they go from the small size 6 millimeter all the way up to, I haven't screwed these down yet, up to 22. And so you end up with a rather complete set. It's not going to go up to the really large sizes. You'd have to sort of do something different to get the bigger stuff. We'd have to start buying some a la carte stuff. I have, I think, up to 32 at my house. But if you're like starting out and you're building a grouping of tools and you want to get something to get started, this wrench set is the way to go. How much is this, Nick? It's like $580 bucks. So $510, which is probably 1/3 of what a Snap-on similar set would cost, but probably 2.5 times what a Harbor Freight Icon set would cost. Okay. Gotcha. So $510 for the, it's $570 for the SE because it has more pieces. So this one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 piece. And I think it's a 19 piece on the SAE set. And these come, by the way, in like a nylon or a ballistics like fold thingy, which I get rid of, and then I get the tool grid organizers, which I've been waiting to screw this down because I wanted to make sure that I didn't add anything to this. I actually, if we weren't trying to display the different packages here at HQ, I would actually put these much tighter so I wouldn't waste this much space. I mean, I could fit another couple of rows of wrenches in here if I wanted to. So you have the metric, and then the SAE version. The SAE version is actually a little bit different offset. If you look at the difference here, I don't know why Stahlvilla doesn't offer the same offset in a complete set like this. And so they call this Open Box 13. So the 13 has, I think, what are these? I think this is a 20-degree offset, and this is they call this a 0 offset, I think. What do they call this? I can't remember. Or maybe this is the 20-degree offset, and this is the stepped offset, and then they have a 0 degree, which would be a flat. But I don't. These are the two most common sets that they sell. These are the most common ones that I use, and these would be my starter recommendation of something that you would, certainly not a starter set of wrenches, but a starter in the high-end world of some higher-end stuff. Just if that makes sense to you. And then from there, I would consider, I probably would buy these last, the gear wrench flexible, normal size, because they're very similar. I would probably actually buy, my next set would be the metric and SAE little guys. What does gear wrench actually call these? Stubbies? Shorties. So the shorties I find to be super useful, and they make a fixed version. So at my house, I have the fixed version and I have the flex head version. And we sat there for an hour and decided, do we like the flex head better or do we like the fixed? And obviously the flex can get in places the fixed can't. And so the metric set, how much are these?
SAE is 150, metric is 170.
Yeah, so, right, yeah, for whatever reason, this set gives you more metric stuff. And so I bought S&K, I bought Facom, I bought Snap-on, I bought Stahlvilla, I bought a couple of other brands, some green company, I forget, to try to figure out which ratcheting wrenches I like the most. I actually really like the S&K ones. They're super smooth, but they didn't come in they only came in they only had one type. And it was a 6, it wasn't a 12-point, it was a 6-point type. And I don't know, I just didn't like those. It's just harder to get on the nut. And I want maximum flexibility. And so my next choice in wrenches would be to do the stubbies. And then my third choice would be, I love these. And this really, I got to credit Snap-on. This comes from Snap-on. They make these long ones. Actually, the first one I'd gotten was those really beautiful KTCs, the Nepros. They weren't ratcheting, and they were insanely expensive. And I actually don't use these very often because they end up being too long. But if I have any wrench in my box, I mean, these are just the coolest. 120-point, awesome engagement. They call this their 120 XP series, and then you have metric and SAE. How much are these? Yeah, so these are Chinese tools, Chinese made, American engineered, I believe, from Gear Wrench. And I hate that. I want to buy something fancier. I want to buy something Japanese. I want to buy something bespoke, but didn't really exist. And I just put my tail between my legs. They had me send me the 500-page Gear Wrench catalog. The Gear Wrench guys are cool. And these are the tools that sort of made the cut for my toolbox, and I really enjoy it. I really like it. By the way, these are the 6-inch by 6-inch boards. It is more expensive to do it this way than the traditional, but I'm telling you, you want the 6x6 boards. It looks better. It fits better. You can really custom fit it to your drawer easier because when you're doing a full size, you can't get past some of the grooves in your drawers. This is the way to go. I'm freaking telling you. It's awesome.
We have one super chat that just came in from Spicy Taco. He says, now that you're a gear wrench dealer, have you played with their foam inlay tool system?
Yeah, the problem with pre-configured foam inlays that don't have a purpose is that to me, a foam inlay just randomly in a drawer doesn't really, I don't like it. I need my drawer to have some sort of function. Now, if you had Rousseau or you had Lista, you could sort of custom set up your dividers and have your foam go in. but like there's there's like no rhyme or reason to it. It's like a certain size foam that doesn't really fit anything specific outside of their their cabinets, but they don't have like they just have toolboxes. They don't have a cabinet. So I don't like it. I would prefer to have tool grid, and then I don't like most of their other tools. So I do like their impacts, but most of their other tools, their their screwdrivers and their ratchets and all that stuff, I don't love. I'd probably head down if I was in that price point. I'd head in the Tecton route or something like that instead.
We got one more question here from Mr. Garcia. He says, does the new Wear a Slim Joker set get a slot in your drawers, the ones you saw at SEMA?
No. I like the Jokers. They're kind of unique, interesting, but they're not German made. I think they're like a Chinese, German engineered Chinese product. So they're not like the highest of quality. It's an interesting take. I like they're doing something different, but when I had them in my cabinet, I just kept coming back to the traditional Stahlvilla. I just wanted a really well built, well designed wrench instead of something novelty. And then I really thought the Jokers with the sort of the articulating head thingy, like they're kind of like a different take on an adjustable wrench. I like the idea of those, and I kept them in my drawer for a long time and never used them one single time. I'd always go and grab an actual adjustable wrench, or I'd grab some Knipex, like alligator type adjustable, clamping wrenches, pipe wrenches, and so they had to get sacrificed. I like the idea of it though. I don't think you can go wrong with it. So in screwdrivers, you've seen me, if you've been following along a long time, you've seen me show up with 513 screwdrivers or something across my giant bench at the Darlington house, and I sat there, and they sat there for months at a time, and I just sifted through over and over and over and over again, and then I came to a conclusion that I narrowed it down to like 200, and then from 200 to 100, and from 100 to like 70 of each style or something like that, and then I have a full-size 60-inch drawer. These are 50-inch drawers. So I have a full dedicated 60-inch drawer to just my screwdrivers. I think it's like 68 flatheads and 72 Phillips or something like that, which is completely unnecessary, overkill. And so I used that set, which was the narrowed down, or the narrow down, and then used that to narrow it down one step further and give myself what would I actually want, what would be the essentials. And so the essentials set is quite a bit different than their normal prefab kit. It includes 334, 350s, and 334 SKs. So I'm kind of going across some of the different lines of screwdrivers to come up with my favorites. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I think it's $140 or something like that. Yeah, $114. You could buy these screwdriver set and probably all you would ever need in life. And then if you want to be able to hammer through them, I really like the yellow ones. That's the strike through set, where it has a ability to hammer. So the shaft goes all the way through the handle, or the shaft is molded on, or the handle's molded onto it. This one you can hammer through. And so I did a similar set of strike throughs. And then we don't have these in stock yet, but we also will have this is a specialty long reach version of screwdrivers. We have the micro screwdriver set, which is very different than the prefab micro kit that they provide, which I just don't like. So I made my own version, which is quite a bit more expensive, but it's the right ones that you want, the right torques, the right flat, a straight blade, and then Phillips, pH like 000 up to pH 1 for the micro. And then rather than buying a bunch of individual micros, I thought I preferred to have the sets, where you take the little bit and then you put it in place, and then it goes like so. What do we got going on here? Something's going on here.
Fuzzy or funky. It might just be because it's rubbing in here. Just a quick swap of the mics, guys.
So the micro looks like so. Super cool, super nice. And then you get into the bit set here. So this is the combination of, I like the Hazet bits a lot more than the Weira's. So we have Hazet bits with, because Weira has the bit check, they call it, which is cool. But I like the bits from the Hazet stuff much more. And like the combination of this is pretty sick, where you have the ratcheting T handle. And so this is like the basic. Now I have like 10 different iterations of the different bit stuff in my house, which was completely unnecessary. But having this combination of torques and hex and all that kind of stuff with this combination is pretty sweet. And then we get into pliers and cutters, dikes, diagonal cutters. The first set that everyone should get is your D-nib kit. You can use the D-nib kit for a lot more, for stripping wires, for cutting wires, but you'll use it for D-nibbing if you're an OG type. So get that. That's like a cool thing. If you want to like send somebody like a cool $75 gift to get you, I think that would be the coolest thing to get at Christmas if I was somebody. Send that link to your people that are going to buy you some stuff and say, hey, this would make me happy. And then there'll be a kind of fun conversation thing at Christmas Day when your uncle gives you a set of things you didn't know what they're for, and then you have to explain to everybody. It'll be kind of a funny story. You're still garbly, Nick?
It's legible, it's just fuzzy. I think it's something on our end. We're hashing it out right
now. The plier set, needle nose plier set, I'm missing one. And then the diagonal cutter set. And I prefer, especially on the smaller end, you want flush cut. So it cuts it nice and flush. But then I have some of the higher leverage ones, which are going to cut with a cut in the center of the wire. You don't want flush cuts when you're doing high leverage stuff when you're trying to cut something thicker. So this is option one, and these are the first grouping of tools that we've come up with. These are available for Black Friday, and so these are functioning and available. And then we're going to come. My next drawers below will be, we'll narrow down the Koken stuff. We'll narrow down the grip-on stuff, the hammer stuff, Oscar, Thor. We'll narrow down the other drawers, coming up here as we kind of work through the year. We'll start working on some of that stuff. So next tools to talk about are foam inlays. So option one is to build out bespoke tools. I will tell you this, I use tools here at HQ way more than anywhere else. And the tools for me that are going into my studio, where I'm about to do the full suspension, carbon ceramics on the Tesla, where we're about to do a bunch of stuff on the Evo, where this actual tool set that I have in here from Sonic is going back there. So foam inlays, Sonic, full Sonic. Sonic is a combination of their own tools and then a bunch of NWS stuff, which is a German, competitor to Knipex. This set of tools is what I'm moving to the back and what I'm going to use. I just prefer the ecosystem of the drawer, the foam, the tools, the organization structure, how the tool goes back in. I always clean my tools before I put them back in, so the foam for me holds up. And again, I'm usually working on cleaner, neater, nicer cars. But we do get some grease and some dirt on them, but I'll generally leave them on the counter and then wipe them off. But foam, to me, is, I mean, those two drawers there took me probably, I don't know, I sat there for 4 different days for, 2-3 hours at a time and just kind of fumbled through it and worked through it, and I really enjoyed that process. My drawers at my house, those 12 60-inch drawers, I probably have about $4,000 worth of tool grid in those drawers. And then I have, at least 100 hours, probably closer to 200 hours. I have many, many like 8-hour weekend days, and then tons and tons and tons of like 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours here and there that added up to, a good solid couple of, 2, 3, 4 weeks worth of work, 40-hour work weeks to get that organized and get that set up, between putting little sticky labels on, labeling all the sockets and wrenches, and screwing everything down, and then kind of positioning, repositioning, choosing where everything's going to go, cutting all the boards. I really enjoy that. It's really awesome. The tools are technically much better than all of these tools, but this, when I go organize this in the back, it's going to take me an hour. Just plop it in place. It fits, it's finished, it looks beautiful. We're really maximizing space. We're leveraging space here to some extent. And then I end up with 20 or so drawers worth of tools. And we're running right now this promotion. We're running, if you are going to buy cabinets, add $2,000 worth of tools to your cart, and you're probably better off just hit up design. So shoot an email to Chris and Kyle and team, design@obsessedgarage.com. Send them an email. They'll get back to you like within the hour, and they're going to get you set up to consider, or set up to figure out, help you consider which tools to get. But if you buy $2,000 worth of tools, that's the qualifier. Then you get 10% off of your cabinets, and then you get 20% off of your whole tool order. So I think you should probably buy, like, I don't know, $20,000 worth of tools and $30,000 worth of cabinets. That would help me out. But anyway, you have foam inlays that make your process, and this drawer is an example where I have some markers and some bags, just because I haven't organized this yet. I have some foam inlays and I have some tool grid, so I did kind of a combination of both in this drawer. So the tool grid actually becomes a nice separator. So if you want sonic foam inlays and you don't have sonic drawers, you could very easily just lock it in place. You can do the same thing with gear wrench or snap-on or whatever other foam. You could use tool grid if you don't have drawer separators like in Rousseau to organize it.
Sorry, we're distracting you, Matt.
I'm powering through it, Nick. I've got a real talent to just be self-centered here. So foam inlays become, I think, like this drawer here is pretty cool, where I put some of the Milwaukee bit sets, and then we know when there's a tool out, when somebody's using something, the tool is out. There's a couple of individual pieces that somebody's taken out, and then we know that that's missing, and so this comes from the aircraft mechanic world, where they have to categorize and make sure all their tools are accounted for. But having tools laid out in my drawers and doing it in minutes, and doing it where I don't have to think through all the detail like this drawer is tool gridded. So generally speaking, I'm going to do a combination of foams and regular. And what I'm hoping to do, I've been working on this, where sort of drawing this out and building my own version. And so I'm leveraging some of the foams that exist. See, what's happened, you got this big giant catalog, right? And then what I do is I kind of cut out all these things and start sorting them like puzzle pieces. And over the years, Sonic has created different foam inlays for different groups of people, or different brands, or different businesses. And so they end up with sometimes 3 or 4 different foams that are all very similar. And then we end up with all kinds of redundancy in tools. And so I've spent quite a bit of time, like the Master Collection, And now the next step, now that we're this exclusive Sonic dealer in North America for consumers, for garages, we're making a bespoke set where I'm leveraging all the foams, the best of the foams, and then we're creating 4 or 5 new ones to kind of complete and create a full set of tools. And then we'll start launching those, later on next year. But for now, if you know, the vast majority of them, like 80% of the tools are exactly what you're going to want. The MSS Plus set is complete. And so you can order that one, which is what we'll be doing during the holiday sale. But foam, I think, is an attractive way to get a complete set of tools. I like the Sonic stuff a lot. I like the fit, the finish, the function. They're lifetime warranted. You take a picture of it, you say it's broken, they send you a new one. I've yet to break one. I haven't broken any of the tools. And I have used these quite a bit, despite me saying, I don't like using tools. We've done quite a few. Now I'm generally doing bolt-ons, but I've built, a dozen cars or more, probably 2 dozen cars with my Sonic film tool set.
So we did have a question come through just a minute ago. Somebody was asking, how does Sonic foam inlays work with like Rousseau or a Pro Slat or any other cabinets?
So they won't fit. You'll have to do something like tool grid around it. So if you're gonna do foam inlays and it's not in Sonic cabinets, then you're gonna have to figure out some way to make it captive so it doesn't slide around. So you'll want to figure out some way to lock it in place. In Rousseau, you can just order drawer organizers and you can lock it in place. That's one way to do it. So Sonics are on sale, hand tools are on sale. Shoot, if you want to buy them at Mormon Master Collection, we'll sell that on sale too. We took those pages down because I think they were too complex. And then none of that stuff was in stock. So it's a good chance if you order one of those, it'll take you 6 months to get it. That was our lesson learned. Is a lot of this obscure stuff from all over the world is not very well stocked by the manufacturers or the U.S. representatives.
We had another question from Jose. He asked about the PPF on the countertops over here.
Oh, yeah.
And whether or not that would be available in the Black Friday sale, which it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are PPF. This is optical film. It's a lower tack film, so it's easy to DIY install. What you want to do is you want to measure your countertops. So measure the top and then measure the width. And then I added, so this section here, I wanted to do 2 different versions. So this one, I had them just, I went with a little shorter. So this one is the seam or the edge is right here. The little countertop here, I measured like 2 inches long, and so it's actually wrapped underneath. So you can choose to do it either way. It's much easier to install if you just measure the length and then just install it on the top. But if you want, you can over measure and have them bring it to the edge. You could even have them make it really long, but you don't want to cut if you can help it. You want to just be able to put it on. But yeah, super easy. You just need some slip solution, which is just a couple of drops of baby shampoo in some distilled water, and then this has a long tack time, and we do have some videos of how to install it. I think it's probably in the product page, but yeah, you can order this as well. This drop ships, so it's built to order, and so once you order it, then the drop ships from Car Supply's warehouse, and optical.
What can you share with us about the new Sonic foam inlays that are coming? What, if anything, can you share about what might be coming over the next couple of weeks?
Well, the new Sonic stuff is here, right? So the new cabinets are coming. So here's what the color looks like. So here's the new finish. Pretty sick. Over 2026, we're gonna have like a promo on like 2 drawers a month, like drawer of the month club or something we're gonna come up with. And so we're gonna generate and create proper inventory of each of the drawers that matter. I think I'm up to 16 drawers. Yeah, it's 16 total drawers of which would make the master collection. 4 of those 16 are bespoke, where I'm making, or 3 of the 16 are bespoke ones where I'm making a new utility set, and I'm making a new utility set. What's the other one? Plier set. So 2 plier drawers. So that'll be the big shift or the big change. Sorry, my eyeball's not doing so good here. Contact is not happy with me. So the plan is to roll that out throughout the year to make a full bespoke set, to line your drawers to get it right. But yeah, all the Sonic stuff is launching in a couple of weeks, and the new MSS stuff, but that's not part of the Black Friday sale. But if you were thinking of buying MSS Plus, this is the day to do it. And MSS Plus is going in my studio, if that says anything. I'm super pumped. This array is actually getting taken out of here and added to a bunch of other cabinets on Monday, is when Mike's going to start putting it together. And then I'm doing the blue tree tops. And so all that stuff is on sale. Anyway. Yeah, hit up design at obsessedgarage.com, support at obsessedgarage.com if you need some quicker help on something you're trying to order. And let's see, your orders keep rolling in here. Let's keep it going. We're on track to have our best November ever, and we're on track to have our best Black Friday ever. So thank you for all that support. It's been awesome. And I'll be live just once tomorrow. Twice tomorrow.
We're doing bucket packages in the morning, and
okay.
We're just doing a little chill Q&A in the evening.
Yeah, so we're going to build a bucket package, and then and early, so like 9 o'clock.
Like 10.
And then we're going to do a
Q&A at 2.
Aren't we closed at 12?
It might be a bit.
Okay.
It's probably at 1.
Yeah,
we'll
yeah.
check the
We can do it
times.
earlier. We can do it earlier for you. Anyway, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching.